My child, stop what you're doing and listen, for heaven itself leans near to speak. The hour is later than you think, and what I am about to tell you cannot wait for another sunrise. You have whispered to yourself, I'll change tomorrow, but I tell you in love and truth, tomorrow will be too late. This is not a threat. It is a cry from eternity calling you home before the door of grace begins to close. Still your heart now, for this moment is sacred. What you choose to hear today will echo forever. Do you remember the moments when silence felt heavy, when your thoughts quieted and something deeper began to stir inside you? That was me. I was the voice beneath your thoughts, the stirring you couldn't quite explain, the whisper that brushed against your soul like wind through the trees. You felt it in those late hours when the world slept, and your heart wrestled between surrender and resistance. I called your name, not with thunder, not with spectacle, but with a gentleness that only eternity could hold. I whispered, come closer. You heard me. You knew it was me. But then your heart hesitated, wrapping itself in the comfort of tomorrow. You told yourself there would be more time, that you could return when life felt calmer, when you felt stronger, when you had everything figured out. But, my beloved, I knew what you could not see, that the storm was already forming on the horizon of your days. You think my whisper is weakness, but it is mercy. I do not shout because I do not need to. My power is not in volume, but in truth. I spoke softly because I wanted you to choose me willingly, not out of fear, but love. I have been near you in every uncertainty, when your heart broke, when you felt unseen, when sin seemed easier than obedience. Even then, my spirit moved around you, urging you, calling you to return, to let go, to wake up before the clouds broke open. But you said, tomorrow, Lord. I'll come tomorrow. Tomorrow. Such a simple word, yet it has stolen so many souls. You think of it as a promise, but it is only an illusion wrapped in hope. Each time you postponed your surrender, your heart grew a little quieter, your ears a little duller to my voice. The whisper was still there, but you learned to drown it beneath the noise of your own plans. You thought I was silent, but I was speaking all along, through the ache in your spirit, through the longing you couldn't explain, through the emptiness that success never filled. I was there in every heartbeat, saying now, not later. Now, you must understand something, child. I whisper before the storm because I love you. My voice comes first as compassion before it must come as correction. I do not desire to see you break beneath the waves when I've already offered you shelter. The storm is not my punishment. It is the natural consequence of the distance between your heart and mine. When you drift from me, the winds rise. When you ignore me, the shadows deepen. But even then, my whisper remains, pleading with you to listen while grace still speaks softly. Do not mistake my silence for absence, or my patience for approval. Every whisper is a warning wrapped in mercy, a chance to return before the thunder comes. I told you, child, I told you with gentleness and tears, tomorrow will be too late. You have built your peace upon the fragile promise of tomorrow. You tell yourself that there will always be more time, another morning to start again, another chance to make it right, another season to finally listen to what your heart already knows. But child, tomorrow is a shadow. It does not belong to you. It is a mist that drifts just beyond your reach, and yet you have built your hope upon it as though it were solid ground. You say, I will change tomorrow, but every time you say it, the ground beneath your feet shifts further from truth. I never gave you tomorrow as your possession. I gave you today as your miracle, this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. Yet you traded away for a promise that has never been guaranteed. You chase a future that you may never see, while the present, the holy space where I dwell, slips quietly through your fingers. The enemy knows this. He wraps your heart in the comfort of delay, whispering, "You have time. You'll do it later." But his comfort is a slow poison. He lulls you to sleep while the light fades. My spirit calls to you now, saying, "Awaken." For each moment you delay, the voice of your conscience grows softer, and the pull of my spirit becomes harder to hear. You are not promised another sunrise. The plans you cling to so tightly may never unfold. You think tomorrow will bring freedom, but if you will not choose me today, tomorrow will only bring more chains. I tell you this not to fill you with fear, but to awaken your soul to the truth. Life is not measured in days, but in decisions, and the only moment that ever truly matters is the one called now. You never meant to drift, did you? No one ever does. The heart rarely turns away from me in a single, violent motion. It drifts, quietly, gently, almost unnoticeably. A missed prayer here, a delayed act of obedience there, a small compromise wrapped in good intentions. Each one feels harmless, even reasonable. But with every small delay, you move a little further from the warmth of my presence. You still call my name. You still feel something of me, but the echo grows fainter. The current of distraction pulls you farther out until the shore becomes a distant memory. I see it happen within you, how your love grows cold, not out of rebellion, but out of neglect. You do not need to curse my name to forget me. You only need to stop listening. You fill your days with noise, your nights with worry, your mind with endless plans, and in the quiet corners of your heart, the flame begins to dim. Yet, even in your drift, I remain near. I have never once turned my face away. I walk beside you in the distance, calling softly, hoping you will notice how far the tide has carried you. Every whisper of conviction, every stirring of longing, every tear that falls when you cannot explain why, that is me, calling you back to shore. Do not mistake the stillness of my patience for indifference. I watch the slow drift of your heart with sorrow deeper than the sea, but I also see your return before it happens. For I have never stopped believing in what I placed within you. You hold time as though it bends to your will, but you forget that it is I who hold it, a delicate thread between my fingers. Each second you live is an act of mercy, each breath a continuation of grace. You walk through your days as if you command them, as if the sun rises because you willed it so, as if your next heartbeat is owed to you. But, my beloved, I see the truth of your fragility. Your life is a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes into eternity. You do not see how thin the veil is between now and forever. You think the end will come far away, but I have seen how quickly time dissolves. I watch generations rise and fall like waves against the shore, and still you live as if the tide will never turn. Do you not realize how precious every breath truly is? Each moment you are given is sacred, a doorway into my presence, an opportunity to love, to forgive, to change, to live as though eternity is real. Yet you rush through it all, anxious about the future, clinging to plans that can vanish in an instant. I do not tell you this to frighten you, but to awaken you to gratitude. The thread I hold will not last forever. One day I will call your name, and the thread will return to me, not in anger, but in truth. So live, child. Live as if every breath is borrowed light, as if every moment is holy. For it is. The thread still holds, but not forever. There is a sound that moves heaven, not the song of choirs, not the echo of thunder, but the trembling cry of a single heart that finally yields. You may think I am drawn to strength, but I am drawn to surrender. I listen for that moment when your voice breaks through the walls of pride and fear, when all the pretense falls away and only truth remains. You have carried your pain in silence, convincing yourself that you must handle it alone, that you must prove yourself before you can approach me. But I never asked for your perfection. I asked for your heart, raw and guarded, honest. You hide behind words like, "I'll pray later," or "I'll fix this first," as though I cannot see the storm raging within you even now. Yet I am not far. I am nearer than your next breath, waiting for that one cry, the one that says, "I can't do this anymore, Lord." When you speak those words, the heavens bend to listen. For in that cry, your soul opens, and my power enters the very space where your strength ends. You have believed that I respond only to the righteous, but I run toward the broken. I have heard the whispered cries in the dark, the ones you never dared to say aloud, and every one of them has reached me. You are not too far gone, not too unworthy, not too late. My heart moves not when you perform, but when you yield. I told you, tomorrow will be too late, not because I am eager to judge, but because every moment you wait is another heartbeat lived apart from the love that could already restore you. So, cry out to me, not with rehearsed words, but with truth. Let the dam break. Let the tears fall. For I am not repelled by your weakness. I am drawn to it. That is the cry I long to hear. You think delay is harmless, that waiting will make obedience easier, but it never does. Delay is a slow decay of desire. It whispers comfort while it steals conviction. You say, "I'll obey when I feel ready," but readiness will never come, because every postponement strengthens the chains that bind you. Do you not see it? The enemy does not always tempt you with obvious rebellion. Sometimes he tempts you with later. He wraps sin in patience, rebellion in reasoning, and calls it wisdom. But every "not yet" you speak to me is a yes you give to him. You imagine that you can return at any time, that repentance will always be within reach, but delay reshapes the heart. What once broke you begins to feel normal. What once stirred you now feels distant. The fire cools quietly, and you do not even notice. You start to live in spiritual half-light, not fully away from me, but not walking with me either. This is the danger of delay. It numbs the soul without your awareness. I have watched many lose the tenderness they once had, simply because they kept saying, "I'll come later." Child, do not underestimate how powerful later can be. Every moment you delay obedience, you give space for doubt to grow, for fear to speak, for your heart to harden. The enemy rejoices not when you reject me, but when you postpone me. For he knows that time itself will do what temptation cannot. It will quiet your passion and dull your spirit. That is why I plead with you, do not wait another day to do what my spirit has already told you. The call you resist now may not return again. The mercy you feel stirring today may not burn as brightly tomorrow. Delay is deception, wrapped in comfort. And I told you tomorrow will be too late. Do you remember the cross? Not as an image, not as a symbol, but as the living proof that I would rather die than live without you. My blood was not shed so that you could wait for a convenient moment to believe. When I stretched my hands wide upon that wood, I was saying, "Now." The cross was my declaration to the universe that redemption is not for another day, but for this very moment. You look at what you've done and think, "I'll come to God when I'm better." But if you could heal yourself, I would never have needed to die. I poured out my blood for the sinner who couldn't wait, for the soul too weak to fix itself. My sacrifice is not a future offer. It is a finished work. Yet you treat it as if it can wait for tomorrow, as though my grace expires only when you decide to receive it. But, child. The cross still bleeds in time, still cries out mercy from eternity. Every drop was for you, for this breath, this heartbeat, this instant. I do not ask you to climb that hill again. I only ask you to believe what was already accomplished there. When you say tomorrow, you trample over what was finished today. The wounds still speak your name. The thorns still testify of love that chose you before you ever chose me. My cross is not a monument. It is an open door. Walk through it now. For when the door closes, the echoes of "I'll come later" will be all that remain. I told you, tomorrow will be too late. Not because my mercy ends, but because your heart may no longer hear its call. There are moments when my presence brushes against your soul so clearly that you can almost feel eternity breathe. Those are not ordinary moments. They are divine invitations, windows of grace when heaven bends close enough for your spirit to respond. But you often wait, thinking such moments will return at your convenience, as though my spirit moves on your schedule. Yet, child, the truth is this: the light of opportunity fades. The same tug in your heart that feels so alive today can grow quiet tomorrow if ignored. Conviction, when unheeded, becomes a whisper, and when that whisper is silenced long enough, even the loudest call begins to sound distant. I have come to you in countless ways, through sleepless nights, through words that pierced your heart, through tears that had no name, all to awaken you to this moment of decision. But grace, though endless in mercy, is not endless in invitation. There are seasons when the door stands open wide, and there are seasons when it begins to close. You do not always see the difference until the silence comes, that haunting stillness when my voice seems far away, not because I have left, but because your heart has hardened through delay. Do not assume that opportunity waits. It moves like the wind. Once it passes, you cannot grasp it again. I have seen souls lose the light not from rebellion, but from waiting too long to respond. You think you have time, but time is the very thing slipping through your hands. Each moment you hesitate, the light dims a little more. And yet, even now, my voice calls softly through the fading glow, saying, "Come while there is still light." Do not let the sun set on your hesitation. You feel me now for a reason. The door is still open, but tomorrow, it may not be. You carry words that were meant to be spoken, forgiveness you withheld, love you delayed, apologies you rehearsed but never released. They weigh on your soul more than you realize. Every unspoken truth becomes a silent stone, pressing against your heart, building walls that even prayer struggles to climb. You tell yourself there will be time to make things right, to say what needs to be said, but the clock of life does not wait for resolution. I see how often you replay those moments in your mind, what you should have said, how you could have shown love sooner. Those thoughts are not mere regrets. They are my spirit stirring within you, urging you to release what has been trapped inside. Words are seeds of healing when planted in time, but when held too long, they wither in the hand. You think silence protects you from pain, but it only deepens the wound. Child, you were never meant to live bound by unsaid words. I gave you the gift of voice so that love could move freely through you. Speak while the heart is still open, while the person still breathes, while the chance still exists. Tomorrow may not offer the same soil for the seed to grow. You may find yourself standing over memories instead of people, whispering what you should have spoken long before. You not see how sacred communication is. Each word spoken in love carries eternity within it. Do not wait for perfect timing. Speak now, forgive now, love now. The words you release in obedience today will echo through forever. For when I said tomorrow would be too late, I also meant this. What you leave unsaid may never find its way back to the heart that needed to hear it most. You think the end will give you warning, that it will come with signs, with preparation, with one last chance to make things right. But I tell you, it will come like the final breath between sentences, swift, silent, unexpected. The day will look like any other. The sun will rise, laughter will fill the air, plans will be made, and then, in an instant, time will collapse into eternity. You do not see how close forever truly is. It is but a heartbeat away. I do not tell you this to terrify you, but to awaken you. For while you live as though life stretches endlessly before you, I see the unseen line where your time ends and eternity begins. So many have stood where you stand, promising themselves one more day, one more prayer, one more chance. But the end came quietly, like a thief in the night, and all their tomorrows vanished into silence. Do you understand now why I told you that tomorrow will be too late? It is not a threat, but truth spoken with tears. I see how swiftly the moments pass, how quickly the sands fall through the glass. You do not have time to waste on hesitation. What you decide in this life will echo through the next. There will be no more chances to choose once the light fades. Yet, even now, mercy stands before you, a final hand extended, not in anger, but in love. Choose while you still breathe. Live as though every heartbeat could be your last. For one day, it will be. And when that day comes, if you have chosen me, you will not face terror but peace, not darkness but dawn. Now, this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, is sacred ground. You keep waiting for a sign, for confirmation, for a perfect time to surrender. But child, this is the time. I am here now, speaking not from a distance but from within your very spirit, calling you to awaken. You search for me in future promises and distant hopes, but I am not waiting in tomorrow. I am standing in front of you now. Every heartbeat is my voice saying, "Come." You have been asking me to move, but I have been waiting for your yes. The doors you want to open are already unlocked. They swing upon the hinges of your obedience. You ask, "What if I'm not ready?" And I whisper, "You don't have to be. Just willing." You see, readiness was never a requirement for grace, surrender was. I am not calling you to perfection. I am calling you to presence. This moment is holy not because of your worthiness, but because I am in it. Stop reaching for tomorrow's promise while neglecting today's invitation. Tomorrow is an idea. Now is eternity in disguise. You wonder how to change your life, but life begins to change the moment you decide to stop postponing the transformation. Do you not feel it? That stirring in your chest, that burning behind your ribs, that is my spirit moving within you, whispering, "Now." You've waited long enough to forgive, long enough to believe, long enough to become who you were always meant to be. I tell you again, now is the moment of mercy. Now is the hour of salvation. Now is where heaven touches earth. Everything you've been searching for begins here, in this breath, in this surrender, in this sacred yes. There is a beauty that only immediate obedience can reveal, a light that only shines when you act without hesitation. When you obey me now, you align with heaven's rhythm. You step into the divine flow where miracles unfold without delay. You think obedience is a heavy burden, but it is actually the release of the soul from bondage. You've been afraid that saying yes to me will cost too much, that surrender will strip you of the things you love. But child, what you fear losing is nothing compared to what I long to give. Every moment of delayed obedience is a moment of withheld blessing. The peace you've been craving waits on the other side of your yes. The breakthrough you keep praying for begins when your will bends to mine. Obedience is not punishment, it is partnership. It is walking where I walk, moving where I move, living with the wind of my spirit guiding your every step. I know you fear what you cannot see, but trust this: every time you obey, the unseen rearranges itself for your good. Heaven leans in toward those who respond quickly to my voice. Do not confuse delay with wisdom. Faith does not ask for understanding before it moves. It trusts that I know what the next step holds. I have seen what happens when you choose me immediately. The chains fall before they even rattle. The doors open before your hand reaches the handle, and the peace floods in before the storm can rise. Immediate obedience is not about speed. It is about surrender. It says, Lord, I trust you more than I trust my own timing. That trust is where heaven manifests. So listen closely. Obey not tomorrow, not when it feels easier, but now. For every instant you choose me without hesitation, eternity smiles and the kingdom advances through your simple yes. Every today holds an echo that resounds into forever. You think the choices you make now are small, insignificant, fleeting, but in eternity, they ring like thunder. The words you speak, the forgiveness you give, the love you show, the faith you choose to hold, they ripple beyond this moment into realms you cannot yet see. Child, every today is eternal in disguise. That is why I told you tomorrow would be too late, because what you do now shapes what will be remembered forever. I do not count time the way you do. I see your life as a single thread woven into my eternal tapestry, and every choice, every yes, every no, every surrender, colors eternity. You live in days and hours, but I dwell in forever, and I tell you this with tenderness. The weight of today is immeasurable. When you waste it, something eternal is delayed. When you redeem it, something divine is released. Heaven rejoices not over grand moments, but over present obedience. Do not despise the power of this day. You do not yet see how angels move when you forgive, how destinies shift when you pray, how heaven records every act of faith done in the simplicity of now. This is the eternal echo of today, the sound of your faith reverberating through time, the resonance of your love shaping eternity. So live as though every word matters, every heartbeat counts, every moment holds meaning. The choices you make now will be the stories eternity tells. Choose me today, and forever will bear witness that you heard my voice and answered. For tomorrow will always be too late, but today is the sound of eternity beginning within you. Amen.